Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and I am going to a protest for Land Day. I will link some information in the comments about the significance of Land Day, but it has to do with the history of the struggle for freedom and against the occupation in Palestine, and it is the largest one that I have ever gone to. So this is going to be a vlog of that experience because it's going to be an all-day thing, because I am leaving at 7 in the morning with a carpool group in a van of 4 other people, and it's going to take 4 hours to get there at least, and the same back again in the evening, and then I think the protest will be a couple hours long. And yeah, I am packing a little differently for it because it's going to be an all-day thing, whereas before I've only been to ones that are a couple of hours. This is also one, because of the largeness, that I'm a little bit concerned about police being an issue. So I'm going to be packing a few things that are in case of bad things happening. So I'm going to show you what I am packing for the protest slash the whole trip. So I'm taking one of my mother's purses because all my purses are very small and basically just fit in my wallet and phone. So I'm borrowing one of her purses. This one has 2 large zippered compartments inside it, and then it has one on the outside, which I will probably use for my phone. So the most important things, and things that I will almost definitely use slash need: wallet, mostly for buying food, having my ID in case I take a turn driving. That will be in one of the inside zippered compartments. Then I'm going to take a water bottle, which I will fill up the day of, which is going to take up quite a lot of space, and then snacks, because I don't fare well on low blood sugar. So some of my most useful snacks I found that keep me going for a long time and really help with that are peanut M&Ms, because they have the sugar. They also have fats and proteins because of the peanuts. So that keeps me going for a long time if I don't have access to other food for more than 3 hours, basically, as long as I can go. And another snack, in case the people that I'm driving with are allergic to peanuts, I won't open those. I'll just eat this, which is some cheesy popcorn. A couple other things that I will almost certainly use: headphones for the trip, in case the chatter is not flowing and I have time to listen to an audiobook. Extra masks. These are KN95s. I also have N95s. These ones are obviously safer. They are also much more uncomfortable and make me sweat a lot. And so I'm bringing multiple so that I can both have options for myself and also so that I can offer them to other people who might want one. Then something I'm going to clip to the outside of my purse once I find a clippy for it is an umbrella, because this is Seattle we're talking about, and even if the forecast doesn't say it's going to rain, which I haven't checked that yet, I'll let you know what the forecast says. Weather can change pretty fast on the Sound, so I think it's worthwhile taking an umbrella, which obviously won't fit inside the purse at this point, so I will clip it to the outside. I have needed an umbrella at a protest before, and trust me, I would have been very miserable without it. Portable, what are these called? Power cells for my phone, with a charger to attach to it in case my phone runs out of battery, because I will be using it to coordinate with some of the other volunteers. I will also be using it to film quite a bit, and I don't want to run out and not be able to call my parents when I get home, for example. Then of course my phone, and I think that's, oh, and an itty bitty notepad and an itty bitty pen. Or maybe a pencil, haven't decided yet. And then, oh, earplugs because it can get noisy. So that's important. Then some things that I hope not to have to use, but I would rather have than not have. Some gloves. These are both useful for if I want to help someone with a little first aid, or if tear gas is an issue. You don't want that stuff on your skin. Also related to tear gas, which I really, really hope doesn't happen, a squeezy water bottle, so that you can pop the cap off and go and really forcefully flush your eyes. This could also be used to forcefully flush, say, a person who had scraped up their knee and got like dirt or gravel in it. Then also in case of like falling down and getting a scraped knee or an elbow, I have a 4x4, which is just a little pad that will cover up an injury and help it to stop bleeding, and some tape to wrap the 4x4. It's not really tape, it's that slightly sticky, scrunchy, stretchy stuff, and a few little band-aids. These three things I would not be taking if they weren't very light, because I really don't expect to use them. Oh, and also important, a little pill bottle of over-the-counters. If you're going to take prescription medication, you need to take it in your prescription bottles. At least, I'm pretty sure that's the law throughout the US. And I just wanted to point out that on my little pill bottle it says, "I'm not crazy, I take a pill for that," which I think is funny because I am indeed on several mental health medications. So what's in here are some decongestants, allergy pills, and pain pills, because those are all things that I need to take throughout the day as needed. Is that everything? Oh, and these three things and the gloves I'm going to put in this little baggie. And then I'm going to take my camera. I think that's everything. I do have a checklist. I'm also taking my keffiyeh. Hopefully I have overpacked and not underpacked. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, it is 5:03 on land day. I woke up pretty much half an hour ago and have gotten dressed and done a couple other things, taken my pre-breakfast medicine so I can have breakfast in about 10 minutes, not awake and not having fun at this hour of the morning. I am not a morning person. I tried to go to sleep early last night and I took melatonin and everything, and one of my as needed anxiety pills, and I think it definitely helped me to get some sleep, but I also woke up multiple times. So also, I'm not just attending Land Day protests, I'm helping run Land Day protests, so we'll see how much I'm able to film, but hopefully there will be some. Hello there, this is after the fact. I'm going to walk you through what my day was like. I was up at 4:30 and we got to arranged meeting place to join a car caravan at 6:30. And we're soon after joined by other people from my local socialist group who had brought paint pens, chalk paint pens, to decorate our car windows with. And I was planning on carpooling with some other people, so we decorated their car. I did a keffiyeh pattern on one of the windows, which I will show you, and then we did some Free Palestine words and stuff like that. After that, I headed out with two of my acquaintances from this group who were younger to mid-20s, I think. Both women. We stopped in, I can't remember the name of the town, but it's a small town between the Tri-Cities and Yakima, to pick up someone else. So there were a total of 4 of us in the car. I decided to wear my N95 mask instead of my KN95s while we were in the car. I just felt a little bit safer that way, and 2 of the other people in the car also wore masks, in their case KN95s. We headed up to Ellensburg, where we stopped for snacks and gas and to have a little pump it up thing that like doing a couple chants and, you know, saying why we were going to where we were going. And this was joined by everyone who had come up from Walla Walla, Tri-Cities, Yakima to Ellensburg, and everyone from Ellensburg, as well as people who had come over from Spokane. So there was a fair group of us there, I would say 24 at least. Then we headed on over the mountains. We got there a little bit earlier than the call time for the people who were volunteering with this group, the PSL. If I haven't said which group this is yet, which was one of the sponsors and basically the co-lead for this particular protest, along with the Palestinian youth movement. We and them together were basically running the security and the getting everything set up and stuff. So we got there a little bit early, so we walked like 3 blocks up a steep hill, which was kind of brutal for me. I fell behind, and 2 of the people with us stayed back with me very nicely. And so we went, and we were aiming for a Euro shop that turned out to be closed. So we went to the teriyaki and sushi shop that shared its parking lot, and some of us got some teriyaki there. I got teriyaki chicken, so I was very happy with that. We walked back on down to the place we were meeting with our lunch in sacks, started having meetings. I was a outreach person, so what I did was hand out flyers. This is one of the flyers that I was handing out. It is about Sound Transit and Siemens cut ties with genocide. It's about the transit, one of the transit companies in Seattle, highly involved with Israel. For example, as of 2016, Siemens already provided 40% of Israel's power generation and has supplied Israeli occupation prisons with technology going back to 2004. They also invest in Percepto, an Israeli drone automation company. So basically we were spreading awareness of this BDS target, and little QR codes to email Sound Transit to tell them off, and a petition to sign. So I was handing that out, and I was also collecting contact information for the Shut It Down Coalition as a whole, which includes that run the Shut It Down website and the various Shut It Down events. So basically what I would do, and I switched to my KN95 since we were outdoors, but there were a lot of people, because it's a lot more comfortable. I would go up to people and say, can I interest you in a flyer? And then I would ask if they wanted to be notified when future Shut It Down events happened, which is what this sign up was for. And not as many people wanted the flyer, but there were quite a few people who wanted to sign up for notifications of events, so that was interesting. I collected more contact information than I thought I would, because most people don't like giving out their contact information. But that was extremely nerve-wracking for me, as you can imagine, with the social anxiety. So I know some of my fellow outreach people were doing more, but I did as much as I could. At some point in there, I sat down and had my lunch. I also helped a few of the other volunteers who were newer to this group than I was, to kind of figure things out and to let them in on some of the information that I had been given that they kind of needed. Then the event started. I was doing all that while people were sort of gathering. The event started and people started speaking, and we've been instructed not to bother people while it was going on because it would distract. So I stood up for a while, and my back and neck and legs and everything was starting to ache pretty bad. So I moved around and found a a park bench to sit on. This was in a park, specifically Lake Union Park. I found a bench to sit on and sat sideways on it so that I was facing the speakers at the end of it, and that helped a lot. I would not have survived very well much longer without sitting down. And there were quite a few speakers. I really liked what they had to say. We also had singing and drum playing by some indigenous people there.
Back to us now!
Give our lands back to us now!
Give our lands back to us now!
Give our lands back to us now!
Free the people, free the land!
Free the people, free the land!
Justice, justice, our demand!
Justice, justice, our demand!
Palestine is our demand!
No peace on stolen land!
Hey, ho!
Hey, ho!
Occupation has got to go!
Occupation has got to go!
And yeah, I think all the speakers were really great. And then eventually we started the march, and I had an assigned place in the march in the last half, because it was divided into 4 quarters. So I was to go either in 3 or 4, section 3 or 4. So I pretty much went pretty near the tail end. I moved up a little bit by wiggling through the crowd, but I was pretty near the tail end.
But we know a good Indigenous person is one who rises to the call of action whenever and wherever our international relatives need aid. In order to not make these land acknowledgements simply performative exercises, we must remember that the United States and all of North America, known as Turtle Island, is still in denial that colonization and genocide has occurred and continues to occur here. If our commitment to opposing colonial violence and genocide is sincere, then we must commit ourselves to ending and stopping genocide everywhere and against everyone, from Turtle Island to Palestine. We are not defined by our trauma or our relationship to oppression. Indigenous peoples are defined by our heart, our strength, our generosity, our community. And when one woman, child, man, or two-spirit is lost, our entire community grieves. The global Indigenous community weeps for Palestine, but through our tears is a burning passion for justice. Unfortunately, loss is nothing new to our communities, but it is this relationship to loss that makes us fight tirelessly to prevent it. It is a colonizer tactic to target us. A community is not destroyed until the hearts of its warriors are on the ground. We are far from defeat. We are the backbones to the champions of change. We are the hands that rebuild our people. And in these moments, let us not forget that the sea brings us love, the land brings us life, and our children bring us hope.
Not another nickel, not another dime! No more money for Israel's crimes! Oh, sorry. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free! Palestine are here!
Palestine Arabia!
Palestine are here!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
So as you can see, there were quite a lot of people. According to reports of the group, there were at least 10,000 people there. So that was really cool. We shut down a couple of intersections. Well, we shut down quite a few intersections, but only like 2 of them were like busy ones. Several of them didn't have many cars at all. And there was not a lot of police presence at all. I saw like 2 police people at the very beginning when people were still gathering, and then I didn't see them again. I did hear afterwards, and people had pictures of the police had apparently set up along the while we were marching, they set up a sonic weapon, which is a thing that produces this horrible sound that makes you feel very sick. Pretty debilitating. And I did have earplugs. They're not totally plugs. They're like made to lessen sound, so, and kind of mute it a little bit. Loops. They're loops. So I brought those, and I did put those in a few times when the loudspeakers were too loud, but they never turned on the sonic device, and we got back with no issues. So I didn't have to wash any tear gas out of my eyes or anything like that. That was nice. I did additionally bring tissues, which I didn't think I was going to bring, and I also switched bags to a bigger bag because I needed one than the one you saw me packing. And even though I left my main water bottle behind and just kept the water that was in my squirty because it was going to be very heavy, my bag was still pretty heavy and was giving me shoulder aches, and I had to switch from shoulder to shoulder all the time. And I also had the second bag that was full of flyers and a clipboard. But yeah, I would say we went 2 blocks over, 3 blocks up, and then back in a square. So a total of maybe 10 blocks. And we were walking on asphalt rather than on the sidewalks, so it wasn't as bad for my back and legs and feet as it could have been, but it was still quite a lot, especially after standing and having already walked 6 blocks that day. But my favorite part was when I was marching, I heard next to me after a while. I shifted around in place and was always next to different people. So at one point I heard a really small voice next to me doing the chanting, totally out of sync with everybody else, so I was able to hear her saying, "Hey, ho, the occupation has got to go." And I turned and it was this little girl who maybe came up to my waist in height. And she had a sign. She's holding both hands. And she knew that chant, and she knew "Free, free Palestine." It was so cute and sweet. And, you know, I love to see little kids getting involved in important stuff. After that, when we got back to the park, there were a couple more speeches for which I wasn't able to find a seat during, unfortunately, because a lot more people were sitting now because they were tired from the march. So I just hung out and was in pain. After they called an end to it and, you know, were like, make sure you get safely back by teaming up and not walking alone and stuff, I stuck around to debrief with my other outreach volunteer people and help clean up a little bit. Although there were many more hands to do the cleaning up than stuff to clean up. We got back with our group. We also had an additional member to our little carpooling group who had taken the bus to get there, but who we gave a ride back just to Ellensburg, so not all the way home. And so we crammed 5 people into a 2-door car, so there was, you know, 3 people in the back seat, and this extra person also wore a mask, and I switched back to my N95 for the drive back because we were in a very small space. We headed on back and had dinner at a place called Pop Pot and Bowl in Ellensburg, and it smelled so good in there. It might have been because I was really hungry at this point. I did have a pack of M&Ms that I had brought for a snack. I had that before we left, but we didn't have dinner until we got to Ellensburg at like 8:30 p.m. and we had had lunch at pretty much 12 p.m. So I did have my snack, and that helped me have my blood sugar and protein enough to be okay. So we got there and I had fried rice. So I had Asian twice in one day, and I did eat a little faster than it deserved to be eaten because everybody wanted to go home because there were still several more hours to drive, 2 to 2.5 hours more to drive. We ate pretty quickly and got out of there, but we had a little debrief there as well with some other people who had come over. The food was absolutely delicious. I highly recommend. It's a pretty small restaurant, but yeah, it was just really good. Really good service too. And then we got home, and my people dropped me off at my house at 11:20, I'd say, and my family lately has been going to bed before 10 because we're all tired. So my mom stayed up to greet me when I got home, and I told her a lot of stuff that had happened while I was kind of coming down from the energy of being with other people. And that's all that happened. It was a big, huge day. Like I said, my whole body was aching. My shoulders just got especially bad because of carrying the bag, and they hurt for 2 more days. But I'm still really glad I went, and it was a really good experience, and I like to think I was helpful in some way. And yeah, it was a really cool experience to be in that big of a group, because the biggest I've been into before that was about 150 people. Oh, also there were quite a few Indigenous people there in their regalia, which was beautiful to look at, and people in ribbon skirts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!